Beer. Americans love beer. In America, we have over 100 different types, from ales, lagers, stouts, porters, and even light beers. Researchers say that beer's been around for longer than 10,000 years and was probably discovered by accident by leaving cereal outside in the rainy weather, and airborne yeast came and infected it. And when they tried it, they liked it. It turned sweet. So, beer was safer to drink than water at the time because you had to boil the beer in order to make beer. So, water at the time wasn't safe to drink. They had bacteria in it, diseases, all that bad stuff. So, beer was safer to drink than water at the time. So, we're going to talk about a couple different types of beer. There was the ale and the lager, is the most common kind. Ale has been around forever. Ale, when it ferments, it's a top fermenter, so you could tell that difference. And lagers needs to be cold and ferments on the bottom, and it takes a really long time to the actual processing of making it. Beer has four ingredients in it: water, yeast, grains, and hops. That's the four main ingredients in making beer. It's pretty simple. Now, there are beer making kits you can buy online or from your local brew store. Now, brewing all grain beer, what you do is you start with your water. You got to get it to 170 degrees. Once you get your temperature right, you add your water to your mash tun. All a mash tun is a container with a false bottom or a screen that allows water to go through without the grains to seep in through. So, what you do is you add your water to your mash tun, then you add your grains. You let that sit in there for about an hour. Now, what this is called is mashing. Mashing is the process of taking your grains, breaking the starch down to sugar, and then in the long run, the yeast eats the sugar, which creates carbon dioxide and alcohol, which we drink. So, you're going to add your grains, let it sit for about an hour. After your hour's up, you're going to sparge your grain / collect your wort. So, what you're going to do is you're going to drip your hot water over your grain bed. At the same time, you're going to drip your water out, which is sugar water now, into your pot, and this is your wort. All wort is your sugar water that your grains made through the process of sparging. So, once you have your collected wort now, you're going to bring that to a boil on your stove. You're going to add your hops. Now, hops give the beer the bitterness. This was founded by the Bavarians later on down the road. It's what we all now taste, that bitterness flavor in beer. Because back in the day, it was just really sweet. But once you add the hops, it gives it flavor and more bitterness. So once you start a boil on your wort, that's when you go ahead and add your hops. And it usually takes about an hour to an hour and a half. So once your boil is over, you're going to bring your 212 degrees water down to 80 degrees. So when you add your yeast, it doesn't kill it. Now, yeast are microorganisms that are alive. This is what I said earlier. It takes your sugar and converts it to carbon dioxide and alcohol. So once you get it to 80 degrees, you're going to add your wort. You're going to transfer your wort to your glass container, and then you're going to add your yeast. Now, yeast come in two different types: dry yeast, and you have your liquid yeast. Now, they both are the same thing. Dry yeast, you go ahead and just add it straight to your container. Liquid yeast, you kind of got to shake it up a little bit to start it up, and then go ahead and add it to your container. Now, fermentation takes about 2 to 3 days to actually kick off, and then once it happens, it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for it to actually finish. Now, the yeast don't always die. They'll stay in there, they'll be inactive the whole time the beer is beer. So, after fermentation, it's time to bottle or keg your beer, whatever method you prefer. Now, bottling your beer, you have to take an additional sugar additive, boil it, add it to your beer, and then put that in your bottles. That way, whenever you cap your bottles, it carbonates it for about 2 weeks, and then you pop the cap and enjoy. Now, kegging, all you got to do is add your beer to your keg, and then once that's done, you seal it up, add CO2, and that's what carbonates your beer. Once that's over with, take about two days with the kegging process, and you're ready to drink. So, people love beer. It's always been around forever, and at one point it was better to drink than water. It's easy to make and delicious to drink, and pretty much anybody can make it. So, I mean, if you like history, like a little bit of science, how about you pop a cap on a cold one and enjoy a home brewed beer? Cheers.